everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So it's been a while since we've talked about Concord. I mean, it's been a while since anyone's talked about Concord since it came. It took 8 years to make, 8 weeks to die. Came and went and everything like that. And there was a discussion around Concord back when it came out about woke, not woke, all this other stuff. I never got to play the game because it died before I even got a chance to play it. But I did watch the Secret Levels episode of Concord, and it was kind of boring. Like if that would have come out before the game, it was supposed to get you hyped for the game, definitely would have failed in that matter of getting me hyped for the game. But I came across this Forbes article, and I will link it in the description below so you can read the whole thing if you like. It's Forbes.com. It is written by, I believe, I'm scrolling back up, Paul Tossi from Forbes.com, and he just goes like the 10 reasons why the game failed. And many legitimate reasons here, but coming at number 5, the anti-woke crusade. Some are citing that the game, with its character design and pronouns in their bios as being woke, and he has that in parentheses. That's why I did the air parentheses. Reason the game failed. That does somewhat link to the above, but not for the characters aren't hot enough reasons. And the real issue here is that, yes, Concord did instantly launch with an internet hate campaign attached to it. That is not the reason the game failed, but it's just another thing dragging it down. And now the loudest people on the internet are, of course, saying the game went woke and as such went broke. While this is an industry that awarded 50 Game of the Year trophies to hyper-woke Baldur's Gate 3 last year, it has still remained an unavoidable distracting part of the Concord discussion since moment one. Now, when Concord was first announced, you did hear that talk. Like, oh my God, the pronouns in the bios, the heavyset character, and they got a picture of her, Daw, I guess is her name, and everything like that. That was a discussion at first, but that quickly died down since the big discussion then came with Sony charging $40 for this, when pretty much all hero shooters had gone free to play at that point, and then they made their money off of season passes, skins, and other things like that. So I would not say that the anti-woke crusade is what killed this game. What killed this game was it was like just reading the reviews and reading the reviews from quote unquote woke places like IGN. Like the best reviews for it was like, it's okay, it's middle of the road. And for most YouTube gamers and people whose articles I read, who I feel are pretty in the middle. I mean, some lean left, some lean right, but they're all pretty much in the center. They're left or right of center, kind of thing like that. They all just like, it's a middle of the road shooter. It's like there's nothing special about it. You don't do anything in it that like sets it apart from anything. And I mean, that's pretty much why it died. It came into a saturated market as a games of service that charged money, where like even heavy hitters like Overwatch, like the sequel Overwatch 2, didn't charge you anything. Like it was free to play. And Marvel Rivals, which was right on the horizon, which a lot of people were excited about because it has the Marvel IPA, was on the horizon again. Free to play, you just have to buy season passes, things like that. And even though, you know, Fortnite's not really a hero shooter, again, free to play. Call of Duty has Warzone, free to play. So you have all these free to play, you know, shooters, like competitive shooter games like that, whether they're hero shooters or they're just regular old first person shooter games. And they're free to play. Like you just have to buy skins and things like that. And if you don't buy anything, if you just do like I do, like Marvel Rivals, you will get a ton of fun out of it without paying a single dime. Like I have not bought anything in Marvel Rivals. I just pop in, play a few rounds, enjoy it, and then I pop out. So yeah. So I mean, with Concord, if I wouldn't have played it for $40, like it's just not the way those games are these days. And I mean, that's kind of not the way my game playing style is these days. I don't buy games that are mostly multiplayer focused because I don't have the time to get on and play the multiplayer games to get the value out of it. Like I can play a single player game at any time. I don't have to worry about finding a game, connecting to servers, None of that. Or if my friends are online, I can just play Alan Wake 2 and be done with it. I can play Dragon Quest 3, be done with it. I don't have to worry about anybody else. Or right now, play Diablo 4, be done with it, kind of thing like that. And Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I started playing that last night. It's fun. I might have to stream it. It's a cool game. I think you guys will like. Well, you will like it. It's Ninja Gaiden. But yeah, so it's kind of like when we go back to this. I don't think anything about the pronouns or any kind of inclusionary things led to the game's downfall. It was just a bland shooter that came out in a saturated market, and Sony wanted to charge money for it. And when you do that, it's going to hurt it. Like, had this game come out before Overwatch or shortly after Overwatch, something like that, it might have made some noise because it would have been cheaper than Overwatch, at least on consoles. Because Overwatch, I think, came out at $60. So this being at $40, people, if they were to choose, they'd be like, you know what, I'm going to try the $40 one, kind of thing like that. But yeah, no, it came out in an era where there's been a decline of hero shooters, like even Overwatch, which it seemed like everyone was playing at the time. That's in decline. Like, I loved the first Overwatch. I played a ton of the first Overwatch, and I was just not. Before Overwatch 2 came out, I just kind of moved on from Overwatch. I think I played it for a good 2-3 years, kind of thing like that, and then I just kind of moved on. Overwatch 2 came out. I remember when it launched. Sean, my son, and I downloaded it, and some of my friends, we all downloaded it. Well, I shouldn't say we downloaded it. We had Overwatch 1, and Microsoft Xbox was like, "We'll download this for you." So we played it, and I didn't feel it. I just was not feeling it. And after Marvel Rivals came out, it's not that I wasn't feeling the hero shooter genre anymore, because I'm enjoying Marvel Rivals. It's just there's just something about Overwatch just wasn't hitting it there for me anymore. So I think real reason the focus should be on why Concord failed was it was just the middle of the road game in a saturated market, and even it was only $40, that's still expensive for that market. Like, if $40 got you everything in the game, like you threw your $40 down and you got everything, then there's talking, because you don't have to buy a season pass, you don't have to buy the skins, you got everything. So I mean, that could have been a value, but it wasn't. It was to get the game, you throw down your $40, and that's why the game failed. And I think this kind of discussion on both ends, trying to talk about it like, oh, because it was woke it failed or something like that, the stupid saying, go woke go broke, kind of thing like that. Just even like saying that just kind of, I think, hurts the discussion at all, because I mean, Paul, to his credit, does bring up the $40 price tag. He brings up hero shooter oversaturation. He says it took eight years to make. Honestly, I think that 8 years to make is kind of bullshit. I think that was just kind of a marketing thing by Sony to say this game's going to be great. It's taken so long to make, kind of thing like that. Just one of those marketing things like, oh, it's so great in the making. It took this long to make, and that's why it's going to be great. And it does give crap to the hero design. I don't really have a problem with the hero design on it. I did think it was leaning too heavily to rip off Guardians of the Galaxy, which could have worked 5-6 years ago when Guardians of the Galaxy was fresh. But I mean, we've gotten 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and then we got an awesome single player experience Guardians of the Galaxy game that failed for some reason. If you have not played Guardians of the Galaxy, the one made by Square or published by Squaresoft, go play it. That game is phenomenal. It's really cheap too. And it might even be on Game Pass. So I know it was on Game Pass, but it's not expensive at all. Go play that game. That game is fun. But yeah, so I mean, a Guardians of the Galaxy game failed. So you're going to take your hero shooter and basically rip off Guardians of the Galaxy, a game that has already failed for some reason. Yeah, that's not going to work. And then it says no marketing. I mean, maybe no marketing to the average consumer, but as a gamer, I saw a ton of marketing for Concord when it debuted at the PlayStation State of Play, and then from there I just saw a ton of banner ads and everything for it. So some of these, like, it's derivative. I mean, I've already covered that, saying like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't know. Is it being derivative if you've already said the market's oversaturated, then say it's derivative? So I mean, kind of being derivative yourself there. The gameplay doesn't stand out. Yeah, we covered that. And it's just drowned out. Yeah, drowned out. It's like 3 times. Like, I guess he needed 10. He didn't want to say 7. He needed 10. So, but Yeah, I mean that is what it is when it comes to Concord. Concord didn't fail because of anything that had to do with characters using pronouns or anything like that. I'm sure it didn't help move games along people who aren't a fan of that, but that's not even close to why it failed. It failed because the market's oversaturated. Sony wanted $40 for it, and Sony is just taking this weird. I mean, they've been canceling multiplayer games left and right now, but they took this weird pivot last year into we want we want to get in on that live service action kind of thing like that. And God, I can't wait for live service to be just dead in the ground. Like, I don't mind live service when it comes to free to play games because you get the game, you can play the game, you can have fun with that game, and then you can, not buy anything else for the game. And you still got a good experience. But man, do I hate this full price game bullshit. And then it's like, oh, but to unlock everything in the game, you got to pay bits and pieces more. No, I buy a game, I should have everything in the game. Like, remember, those of us who are older, remember the good old days when you bought a game and you could get separate skins, you could get secret levels, you can get all that fun extra players and stuff like that, and you earned them in the game. They were already in the game. They weren't pieced out, and then you had to buy more. You just played the game and you unlocked them. I miss those days. I wish those days would come back. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on that. I'm sure the pronouns in Concord did not help, but at the same time, I don't think it killed the game. Sony's mismanagement of that game and dropping it into an oversaturated market, that's what killed the game. So trying to argue that the anti-woke crowd, the people who don't want those things in their game, are to blame for it, no. Sony is fully to blame for Concord's failure. Just 100% it's Sony's fault. Sony screwed up the whole thing, and we went through all that. So trying to turn this into a social political thing is just kind of ridiculous. It has nothing to do with any kind of the social politics of the game, of the people who bought the game, of the people who didn't buy the game. It all comes down to, it was mismanaged by Sony. It was a mediocre game in an oversaturated market, and they charged you money for it, where better games didn't charge you to play the base game. So that's why it failed. Plain and simple. No conspiracies here. Just piss poor marketing on Sony's part. So is that why you think Concord failed? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of Concord. Did you play Concord, and did you really like it? Did you think it was crap? Did you think it was just okay like most people? And were you upset when they shut it down? I don't think there's too many of you that would have been upset, because I think when it got shut down, there was like 250 people playing, something like that on Steam. So it's not like it was setting the world on fire, kind of thing like that. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you thought. And do you have a sealed copy of it? I was this close to, like, when they were shutting it down, I was that close to buying one, thinking like, oh, I'll keep it sealed. Maybe one day when I'm old, because I don't think the PS5 is going to be nostalgic for a while, someone will want that game on their shelves, like crappy other games that didn't get too many prints because no one bought it, that are now like $500, $600. But let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye now.